discriminant concept where they ask you to find the value, or rather ask you to find the range of value, is that, okay, we always do b squared minus 4ac. But actually, even before we do b squared minus 4ac, right, we realize we have two equations. So what is the default rule? We do a simultaneous equation of both questions. So we equate both equations together. Okay, equate everything together, and then we will be able to get a quadratic equation. Then we know that b squared minus 4ac only applies to quadratic equation, right? Then this works because we have a quadratic equation that help me to represent both of the equation that I have over here. Okay, then tangent mean b squared minus 4ac has to be equals to 0. So b squared minus 4ac equals to 0. Do a bit of calculation. You will realize that you get 4c equals to 3. Right? And c will be equals to 3 over 4. So 4 marks gotten. Express this in partial fractions. Okay, partial fraction we only have 3 cases. So let me recap. It's either we have okay, so the first case is that, let's say, as fx over x minus 1 x minus 2, you become a equals to x minus 1 plus b equals to x minus 2. Let's say it is fx over x minus 1 x minus 2 squared. It will become a x minus 1 plus b x minus 2 plus c x minus 2 squared. Last case, fx equals to x minus 1 x squared minus 2. It will become a minus 1 plus bx plus c x squared minus 2. Okay, and how do you get the a plus b, or rather how do you get the numerator of the partial fraction? You need to compare coefficient, or you sub in suitable value. Okay, so notify me if you don't know any of this way. Okay, so of course here is the second case. So we get our first mark first lah. Okay, and okay, also one last thing for partial fraction that you need to take note is, what do you do if your fraction is improper? You need to do long division. But of course in this case it's proper. How do I know that it's proper? The highest power of x in numerator is squared. Okay, and highest power of my denominator, I know that it will be 3, because here I will get an x squared, here I will x. So times together 3. So of course it's gonna be a proper fraction. Okay, so here I will write down first that, okay, I know that this is the second case where it should be expressed like this. Then what do I do next? I need to cancel both sides such that I will get the equation. So I don't want the denominator. I want to get rid of the denominator. So I get rid of the denominator. Okay. So how do I get rid of the denominator? I times all the denominator on every side lah. So let's say for this part, I have x minus 1, right? So if I time x minus 1 times x plus 2 times x minus 2 squared, I will only become times x plus 2 squared. Okay? So this question, it will be more suitable, or rather I would say it will be more effective if you do sub in suitable value. So I will do sub in suitable value. So for x minus 1, you will be able to get a a is equal to 3. So if you sub in x is equal to 2, you'll be able to get a c is equal to 4. If you sub in x is equal to 0, you'll be able to get a b is equal to negative 5. Okay? Now, alright, how do you decide what to sub in? You need to sub in the value such that either a, b, or c will become 0. Then you solve the other constant. Okay? So let's say I sub in x equals to 1. My b will be equal to 0. Why? Because 1 minus 1, 0 ma. My c also becomes 0. And in that case, I'll be able to solve for a. Because the only unknown that I left with is a. So that's how it works. Then, I must remember to rewrite the fraction. If not, I will minus 1 mark. Okay? Okay, this is a very heavy trigo question. 5 marks. 5 marks, okay? So, how do you prove this? It's actually very simple, even though that is 5 marks. Now, let me recap the tips for proving. First tip, I always change everything to, everything become sine theta cosine theta. Okay? So, and then, if today I have like right hand side equals to left hand side, right? Left hand side equals to right hand side. Which side do I choose to prove? Choose to work on the more complex side and try to simplify it. Complex side. Then try to simplify it. So what I will do here, I will just say that right hand side is equals to, I try to make it to be 1. So what I can realize here is, before I even prove, I need to analyze ma. So I analyze that this is actually just a minus b times a plus b will become a square minus b square. Same for this. So I will write it down first that both of them actually give me cosecant square theta minus 1. This one will be secant square theta minus 1. And if we remember, recall our identity, okay? Cosecant square theta plus cotangent square theta is actually equals to 1. And for secant square theta plus tangent square theta is actually equals to 1. So, minus 1, you will get the adjacent one. This is provided in your exams. This formula is provided in exams. So, cosine square theta will be over cotangent square theta plus sine square theta over tangent square theta. Okay? You know how to get this, This is gotten through this. And this is gotten through this. Okay? So in that case, I'll be able to simplify further and I will get, because this one will be what? Cosine square theta will be divided by cosine square theta over sine square theta. Okay? And I will write it like this. So if it is divided by cosine square theta over sine square theta, it's actually equals to times sine square theta over cosine square theta. Then for that, it will become sine square theta times cosine square theta over sine square theta. So at the end of the day, I will get sine square theta plus cosine square theta equals to 1 and is proven. So you need to know that another way for you to analyze is 1. What do you know is so familiar of 1 in your formula sheet? You should have already recognized that they actually want you to prove this for your last step. Okay? Differentiation, I believe that you are very aware that this is just straight away product rule. Okay? So, product rule, let u be equals to x, let v to be equals to e negative 2x, du dx will be equals to 1, and dv dx will be equals to negative e negative 2x. So, d dx x e 2x negative 2x will be equals to x times negative e 2x plus e negative 2x. And if we take it out, okay, we want to actually by here you should already get a marks already. But I want to make our life easier, so we factorize out. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Next, hence find this. Okay, this is a typical integration question that every year also will come out one. But let me teach you how to do it. When you encounter this question, where you need to prove that hence you use your differentiation result to go and prove your integration result, the first thing that we should always write is, we know that d dx x e negative 2x, because they say hence ma, so we write down that this is what we have proven. So it's equals to e negative 2x minus 2x e negative 2x. Okay, which means integrate what we have over here dx will give me x e negative 2x plus c. Okay, do you understand this? Because this is actually the concept of this question that they are testing you on. D dx u, let's say that I get v. Integrate v, I will be able to do u plus c. Right? Because integration, integration of this, you are getting the original version. And differentiation, you get the simpler version. That's how it works, right? Differentiation of 2x, you will get 2. But integrate 2, you will get 2x plus c. Right? So this is that they want you to see the relationship. And how do you relate this to this is your next challenge. So we know that integration of this is something that we can speed up. Right? We know that we cannot integrate this using the formula that we learned. But the moment that we speed up, can you recognize that we can integrate this? Because the formula that we learned for this is what? E ax plus b over a. Can you recognize this? Can? Basically, it's just that. Okay, this one integrate negative x e negative 2x dx. Always remove the constant from integration. So you take out. Okay, we integrate this part first, okay? Okay, maybe we continue to simplify. Oh, okay. Then we will realize that if we take out the constant, oh my god, this is what I need for my question. So if we rewrite a bit, okay, we relate to what we have over here, okay? Negative 2x e negative 2 dx. Because this is equals to this, so this minus this dx is equals to x e 2x plus c. Then negative 2x e negative 2 dx is equals to x e negative 2x plus c minus this. And x e negative 2x dx integrate of this is what the question wants us to find, right? It's actually equals to x e negative 2x plus c minus integration of e negative 2x dx whole thing divided by negative 2. Okay, so the final answer will be this minus or plus because why? Integrate e negative 2x is actually e. So the original version is e negative 2x over negative 2, right? Which will be, yeah. And then everything half plus c2. How come I use C1? How I use C1 is because the constant will be different. Because it's the constant of this plus the constant of this. Okay? Okay. So we simplify our answer. Okay, yeah. So the 4 marks are gotten by this. Okay? Okay, next part. Again, we have another trigo. Just now we already have one trigo for 5 marks. Now, have another trigo to do. But let me tell you, this 6 mark question, we can just solve in 4 steps. Okay? We want to solve that this is equals to this. But we haven't proved yet. How? So means the 6 mark comes from, part of it is also from proving that, simplifying it such that we can solve it. Okay? We realize that, okay, now, when we deal with this kind of fraction, the first thing that I will do is, again, my default step is, change everything to be sine and cosine, right? Here, for left hand side is already everything in sine and cosine, but cotangent theta can be further simplified to cosine theta over sine theta. So, what do we do here? Cross multiplication. So, cosine theta plus 4 sine theta. Okay, this part, it will times sine theta. And for cosine theta, it will times 2 cosine theta plus sine theta. And at the end of the day, okay, we will be getting this. Okay? And if you move everything to one side, okay, you will realize this is what you end up with. Okay, so what do we do? My second tip is I changed everything to just one ratio. So I'm very happy that today, so I want to try, sine square theta. I will be getting 4 sine square theta minus 2 plus 2 sine square theta. Okay? Can? So what is my next step? I plus together. Wait something gone wrong. Okay, but anyways, I plus together. Sine square theta is equal to 1 over 3. That means my sine theta is also equals to what? Plus minus square root 1 over 3. So sine square theta is equals to 1 over square root 3. Or sine theta is either equals to 1 over square root 3. Either negative 1 or positive version. Okay, then my theta will be equals to what? So I need to first quadrant, then I consider range. Okay, so the answer at the end of the day, you can check your answer is this. So if you don't know how, okay, you try to consider these two. Especially you look at the range chart, got negative angle over here. Okay, so for negative angle, you need to minus 2 pi. Okay? The function is equal to this, and then you want to prove that, A is positive constant. Okay, these 2 marks is quite easy to get, because like, you just need to find f prime x, and this is very clearly your quotient rule. So your f prime x is actually, okay, after you do your differentiation, I'm not gonna go through much, okay, but your differentiation at the end of the day, it will look like this. Okay, basically just your quotient rule. Your quotient rule formula is v du dx minus u dv dx over v squared, where your v is your denominator. Okay? The function defined by this has the has the property of this. G prime x equals to x minus a squared f prime x, and g decreases. Okay, g decreases as a square as g decreases for this range of values of x. So find the value of a. This is simple because you are given this. So why not we just rewrite whatever the question tell me? Okay? And if we rewrite whatever the question tell me, this is what we will get. And we cancel, we will be getting this. Okay, and yeah, this is basically it. Okay, so they tell me that it decreases. So g prime x decreases tell me what? G prime x is lesser than 0. Remember your function, your fx is increasing if f prime x is larger than 0, decreasing if f prime x is lesser than 0. So say decreases, of course g prime x is lesser than 0. So I put in g prime x lesser than 0. So if g prime x lesser than 0, this means that x minus 2a is also lesser than 0. And if we solve this very simple range of values, Okay, because here we use our inequality concept. This one is less than 0, we look inside. So 0x to a. After we solve this, we know that because what? Because we realize that g is only defined, we see here, g is only defined when x is larger than a. Okay, so since g is defined for x larger than a, then a is also larger than 0. How do I know that a is larger than 0? Huh? How do I know that a is larger than 0? From what I have here. Okay? That means at the end of the day, okay, this is your range of value. You replace a from here. Thus, when you replace it, you realize you compare this with this. You know that 2a will be equal to 2a and 8 will be equal to 4. Okay? Can Okay. Okay, this 6 one is actually very simple. Alright? It will be able to be solved in just a few lines. Okay? So they say that it completely lie below the x-axis means what? There's two conditions. B squared minus 4ac has to be lesser than 0 because completely lie below the x-axis, it means the graph is like this. And this is a maximum graph, so my a has to be lesser than 0 also. My coefficient of my graph. Okay? So in this case, my coefficient of my x squared, which is a, is k. So I will replace this as k being less than 0. If it is completely lying above the x-axis, will become like this. Same thing, b squared minus 4ac lesser than 0, but my a, which is my coefficient of x squared, has to be larger than 0. Okay? So, for me to be able to do this, okay, b squared minus 4ac lesser than 0, right? The first thing that I deal with. So, I'll be able to get this. And I will be getting this. But however, I will reject this answer as k has to be lesser than 0. Because right, my coefficient of x squared has to be lesser than 0 for it to completely lie below the x-axis. So the only answer is this. Can you see that I only solve it in 3 lines? Yes. They say intersect at 2 points. I want to find the coordinate of these 2 points. This one is E-math. I will not go through because the only thing that you need to do is simultaneous equation. Okay, they say that a curve of this, okay, has the equation of this. I want us to find the stationary point and point AB on the curve. Okay, just the x coordinate. Okay, so stationary point, my dy dx is equals to 0. So I find the dy dx first. The dy dx will be 1 minus x minus 6x squared. So we solve this being equal to 0 because x is stationary point. dy dx is equal to 0. Now this line is very important because even though right you are stuck for differentiation, you need to write this line. Why? Because this line will grant you 1 mark. Okay? Even though your differentiation is wrong, you write this line, you will still get 1 mark. We continue to solve, we will realize that this equation, we will be able to get x being half or 1/3. How do you solve from here to here? Calculator lah. Can you see 4 marks? This is easy only. Okay, so it is given that where point P on the curve is where the gradient is maximum. So show that point P and the midpoint AB have the same coordinate. Okay, you just think a bit lah. Okay, you know that gradient maximum means what? You need to do your derivative test because you have 2 coordinates. So you need to prove, you need to see which of the x is actually the one that will give you the maximum. Okay, so you have AB, right? So maybe we want to find P first. So d2y dx squared, okay, I will use second derivative test. So d2y dx squared of this will be able to give us this, which is negative 1, negative 12x, sorry, 12x, not 12x squared. So, okay, I have this. They say that point P is a point on the curve where the gradient is maximum. Point P, gradient being maximum. Okay, so d2y dx squared equals to 0. You get y or not? You get why P is d2y dx squared equals to 0 or not? They say that point P is a point on the curve that the gradient is a maximum. So okay, if I draw out, right, my gradient maximum is here. So I know that my gradient is over here. My point is over here. Okay, can you see that my point is over here? Okay, Okay. So midpoint of AB. Okay, midpoint of AB, I will be using my midpoint theorem, I will get this. Okay, so after I realize that I equate my d2y dx squared to be equals to 0, I will also get this. So proven. Okay, recap, this is quite a new concept, but gradient being maximum. If they tell you that fx maximum, what would you do? You will f prime x being equals to 0. So same thing, f prime x maximum, so just f prime x equals to 0 lah, okay? A circle with center C has equation of this. So find the coordinates of C and the radius of circle. So very simple, I'm gonna do the completing the square method. Okay, in basically, you just need to recap or completed the square, okay? If you don't understand this, ask me again. So this is just this. Okay? Wait, no. My mental sums are going wrong. Okay, so here, this is your radius. Your 13 is your radius. And this one become negative 5. And here will be 12. Yeah, this is your center. Okay. Find the coordinates of the points at which the circle intersect the x and y axis. Intersect y axis, my x coordinate is equal to 0. So just subs x equals to 0. Okay. I will be getting y being 0 or negative 24. So the coordinate is 0, 0 and 0, negative 24. These 4 marks is actually very simple. Okay, so they say the point x is on a line which passes point C and the origin O. It's given that distance C. Okay, so I will sketch C first, okay? This is my circle. So I use the information that I have just now to help me to sketch my circle. Okay, so I know that just now I got that the radius is 13, right? And my center is this. And I cut through the origin in y-axis and here. Okay, this is the information that I have. Right? And here 13 unit, here 13 unit. Okay, they say that point x is where a point on a line actually passes through C, and it's given that the distance cx and the origin O, that passes through C and the origin O, and they say that the distance cx is actually 3 times the distance of OC. C is your center, okay, which is over here. So let's calculate the distance OC first. Distance OC is how much? origin, and then here is actually length of line segment formula lor. So OC will be equals to 0 minus negative 5 square, which is plus 5 square, plus 0 minus 12 square. So this will become 25 plus 12 square. Okay? I think the answer will is 13. So you realize OC is your radius, 13 unit. So let's sketch for, I already got OC, I got 1 mark already. Now the next thing that I need to do is, I would have to do something called sketching. So I would need to sketch my line. They say that point X is the line on which that it passes through C and the origin. So maybe this is the line. Oh my god, the color is a bit bad. So maybe this is the line. Can you see that I follow the instruction? They say it passes through C and cuts through the origin. So this is maybe the line. Okay? And they say that it's actually 3 times the distance OC. So let this be X. Let this be X. And if we draw a triangle down, we realize that, okay, if this is 3 times, this thing is 3 unit, this thing is 1 unit. Okay? Can? Okay? Okay? Alright, okay. Then we realize, okay, it's actually the time to use Emath. Why? Because I can form my similar triangle over here. Here is one triangle. Here is another triangle. Why is it so that similar triangle? Because they are all right angle triangle. Okay? Similarity test is actually AA similarity test. Okay, AA similarity test. Okay. And I can use my similar triangle. Here is 1 unit, right? So, by my similar triangle, okay, this is 3 unit, this is 1 unit, okay, and I know that, okay, from here, from this point to this point, which is your center, okay, negative 5, 12, right? So from the origin, it means that here is 12 unit. So this is 12 unit, okay. So I know that this is 3 times and this is 1 U. So the ratio, it will just be 3:1, right? So if I know that this is 12 unit, here will be times 3. 12 times 3, right, will be 36 unit. So here will be 36 unit. Okay? From here to here is 5 unit. Why? Because the center negative 5. So I will know that from here to here also 3 unit. So here is 5. So 5 is 2 will be 15 times 3 again. So you realize that here will be 15. So 15, here will be 36. So if you want to get x, which is over here, okay, you will need to note that from here to here is 15. From here to here is 36. So x will be this whole thing and this whole thing. Right? So this whole thing and this whole thing. So my x, it will just be the center, negative 5 minus 15 and the y-axis will be 12 plus 36. Answer of this. Okay? Okay. We are almost done. Okay, 5 more pages only. So stay with me. Okay. So this is a rate of change question. Now, this question is exactly the same question type of 2020 PYS paper 2. So if you do 2020 and you come, so that's why PYS is very beneficial one. You never know, they will actually test the same question type before. So let's analyze the question. Let's say that a circular patch of water, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the first line is basically irrelevant. Okay, so they say that at time t, the rate of change of the radius is given by this. This is dr dt. Okay, they already tell you that this is dr dt. K is a constant. K is a constant. Okay, so initially the radius of patch is actually 1 cm. Very important because you may need to sub into your rate of change later on, this being r. Okay, so r is equals to 1 when t is equals to 0. Okay, because initially and increasing at the rate of this. So t equals to 0, dr dt is equals to 0.5. So show that k is equals to 0.5. Very simple So dr dt is equals to 0.5 when t equals to 0 So you sub in, because you know that dr dt is equals to this. So you equate this to be 0.5 because I tell you that it's 0.5 and you sub in t being equals to 0 because it's initially. So you'll be able to get k equals to 0.5. Okay? Find expression of r in terms of t. Expression of r in terms of t basically it means what? If I tell you expression for y in terms of x, basically it will just be y equals to something x. So it's just an equation of y. So here is just equation of r. How do you find equation of r in terms of t? Again, it's a reversible concept of differentiation and integration. If you get dy dx, can you get y equals to something x? Dy dx is equals to 2x. Okay, let's say dy dx is equals to x. Then y will be equals to half x squared plus c . Okay? So here same. You are given that dr dt is equals to k over 2t plus 1. So r will just be equals to integrate dr dt, which is k over 2t plus 1 dt. Okay, but for the k, you have already shown that k is equals to this, right? So of course, be smart, you sub it in. And then you will be able to get this. But however, I say, I want you to find an expression for r in terms of t. So, expression, it means I shouldn't have c. Because c is a variable constant, arbitrary constant. I shouldn't have c. So I want to try to find a value for c. How do I find a value for c? What information are we given? The radius, right? So because this is the expression of radius in terms of t, and I am given t equals to 0, r equals to 1. So I sub in. And I will get that c equals to 1. So the actual answer will be r equals to 1 over 4 ln 2t plus 1 plus 1. Okay? So using that, I want you to then find the rate of increase for the area of the patch after the patch has been expanding for 3 seconds. So t equals to 3. Rate of increase will mean of the area will be dA dt. They want you to find dA dt. dA dt is equals to what? You are already given r equation. You are also given dr dt. So you just need to find the area. The patch is what? They already tell you that this is a circular patch. Circular patch, circle, area of the circle is just pi r squared. So you need to get dA dr, right? Because dA dt, you are given dr dt, will just be dA dr times dr dt. So you dA dr will be 2 pi r. Okay? So dA dt equals to dA dr times dr dt will be 2 pi r times 0.5 over 2t plus 1. Okay? Then you will be given, yeah, this is what you have can express until here. But I want you to find the exact number of rate of increase, because I tell you that it's 3 seconds. But you realize I don't know what is r. So that is why there's a hence here. You use your equation of r to find the radius after 3 seconds. R is equals to this, right? So you need to tell me t equals to 3, what is my r? Okay? And after that, you'll be able to get a dA dt is equals to this. Remember your unit. Okay? I think it's the second last question. Yeah. This question is testing you on quadratic equation, real context. Okay, which is your very, very first chapter that you learn. Okay? So they tell you that the ball is thrown vertically upwards, okay, above the ground at time t seconds. After being thrown, it's given by the formula of this. So very simple, okay? They are just testing you this. This is the projectile motion of the ball. Okay? So state the height above ground from which the ball is being thrown. State the height above the ground from which the ball is being thrown. Very simple. They are actually asking you t equals to 0. Why? Because they say this is the t seconds after it is being thrown. So before, because they say from the ground from which the ball is being thrown. So before it is being thrown, what is the height of the ball above the ground? So you sub in t equals to 0, it will be this. So they are a bit testing you on English. Again, I say height above the ground from which the ball is being thrown. From which the ball is being thrown. So before it's being thrown, what was the height? Okay, that's what that means. They want you to express this, so basically they just want you to completing the square lah. So okay, maybe I should recap on completing the square so you don't forget. For A math, completing the square, the first thing that I will do is I will take out every single thing. Okay? So I will factorize the coefficient of t such that there is nothing in front of t square. Okay, but t maybe will have something. So let's say I will be 2x squared plus 4. Then how do I, 4x plus 2, how do I factorize this for completing the square? I make it to be like this. Okay, so I don't want to have any coefficient in front of my x squared. That is the main key thing. So after that, okay, I will be able to get this being my completing the square, and then this, I need to minus off the square because I passed the square. Then I will get this. Is it? This is wrong. Why? Because this has to times back with this. So the actual answer is this, and you continue to simplify, you will get the answer of this. Okay? And this is exactly what they say as a plus b of this. Okay? So you always have to say that, oh, that's why it's proven where a is equals to 3 and b is equals to -5, where c is equals to -5. Okay? Hence, you want to state the maximum height attained by the ball. So very simple. A quadratic equation. This is your maximum point. This is the max x. This is the max y. So what is your y-axis for this case? If usually you have this, right? Y is equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. So you compare, you realize that y is your h, which is your height. Your x-axis is your t. So they say maximum height means your maximum y. So you got the complete mean of square, maximum y is basically just the 3. And they say the time at which this occurs, so t will be equal to half x. Okay? So they are just testing you on maximum point. They say the ball hits the ground. Explain why the time taken for the ball to hit the ground is not the twice, okay, found in part C. The twice found in part C, very simple, right? Because for it to hit the ground, how come it's not the twice of the time found in part C? Basically, it's just that the ball, right, it wasn't thrown from h equals to 0. Okay? Why they ask this is because this is a quadratic equation. So have a square there, by right it's supposed to be twice of the time found in part C, right? But why is that so not that is the case? Is because it wasn't thrown from the ground. So it may not necessarily be just the twice of the time. It's a 1 mark question, you cannot get this, is okay. But this one you can get, right? Find the length of the time for which the ball is at least 2m above the ground. Length of the time is basically the range of x. So is the range of t, which the ball is at least 2m from the ground, so h have to be larger or equals to 2. Okay? So you need to do your quadratic inequality here. You manipulate, you will get this. And then, at the end of the day, this is what you will have. So less than 0, I look inside. So this is supposed to be how your inequality should be looking like. And then you plus half both sides because I want to just get the t. So you will be getting this. Okay, like this, right, you should be able to get at least 2 marks already. So how do you get your last mark? They ask for the length of time. So the length of time for which the ball is at least 2m above the ground. So the graph is like this, right? They actually want you to find, let's say that this is 2. Okay? So from 0 to 2, they ask you to find this part. Get it? Can you get it? Okay, can you get it? So it's basically you just need to find the distance between 2 variables. So distance always the larger minus the smaller one. So it's just this. Okay, if you cannot understand, I do a more detailed explanation. This is 2. And for it to at least to be 2 or larger, ball is at least 2m above the ground, right? It's all the way from here to here. Can you get it? All the way from here to here. So basically, I just want to find this. So let's say that this is A and this is B. I want to find the distance of this. It will just be B minus A. So same here. Okay? Okay, the last question is a very simple question, even though it has 10 marks. It's basically just coordinate geometry lah, but they never draw any diagram for you. They give you like words. Okay, the perpendicular bisector of the line joining the point passes through the point X. Okay, so perpendicular bisector, so one line A, B. They tell you that the perpendicular bisector of this line passes through point X. Express the gradient of the perpendicular bisector of line AB. So the gradient of this will just be -1 divided by the gradient of this lah. So the gradient of AB is something that we should find first, right? It will just be y1 minus y2 equals to, y1 minus y2 x1 over x1 minus x2. So h minus -7 to minus -8, h plus 7 over 10. So the gradient of the perpendicular bisector will just be -1 over this, so this will be the answer. 3 marks, can you imagine? Okay, so find the possible value of h. So this one you actually need to manipulate with. In fact, you need to find the equation. So there are a lot of ways to find this question. You either, you either find the midpoint of AB, and you prove that the midpoint of AB and X will give, with these two coordinates, it will give you this gradient, because midpoint of AB passes through the perpendicular bisector. Because the perpendicular bisector cuts the line into two equal parts, or you can find the equation of both lines and then you manipulate with the coordinates. You sub in the coordinates and see whether you'll be able to get a h. So I will demonstrate the first part because it is the easiest part. We find the midpoint of AB. We will get -3 h minus 7 over 2. Then we know that I have also x being h, and then -13 over 2. I already know that my gradient of my perpendicular bisector is this. And I know that for me to find the gradient of a line, I need 2 points that lie on the line. Both of these points lie on the perpendicular bisector. So I can manipulate with this. Because I know that this, I will also get this. So after I manipulate, you should be getting this. So h plus 6 over -2 this equals to this. So with cross multiplication, we'll get a quadratic equation of this. And h will be equal to either -2 or 9. Can you imagine this is 7 marks? Because they know that why is it 7 marks? Because some students they will find the equation of the perpendicular bisector. Then they sub in the midpoint of AB. This is one way. Another way, they find the equation of your line AB. They sub in the. So what they do is they find the equation of line AB using gradient and A. Then they sub in B. It actually works. With that, I think, that's all for your Amath paper 1.